Good evening. Your time is 8 p.m. and I'm Wazanai Sansole. You're watching the Wednesday evening edition of Newsplus right here on ZTN Prime, and these are your headlines. The skies have smiled on Zimbabwe this summer cropping season. Rains have been good and farmers got their hands dirty, and now the country is looking forward to fill up its silos and celebrate a successful summer cropping season. Stay tuned to Newsplus as we give you the glad tidings shared by the country's leader earlier today. Authorities are working on recruiting 8,000 additional teachers to plug existing gaps and improve the student-teacher ratio in classes countrywide. Senegal has added itself to a growing list of countries backing Zimbabwe's bid for a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. More details on that story here on Newsplus. National Sports Stadium bucket seats complete. Now, in our first story, Zimbabwe is expecting a bumper harvest for the 2024-2025 farming season after the country received normal to above normal rainfall pattern, which saw most farmers harvesting better yields than last season. This was said by President Emmerson Mnangagwa while addressing the 383rd ordinary session of the ZANU-PF Politburo today. The president implored winter wheat farmers to work hard to register a better crop and help meet national targets. He also said the adoption of high technology and modernization of the grain storage facilities is set to consolidate national food security and sovereignty.
In the agriculture sector, the adoption of high technology as well as modernization of our grain storage facilities are set to consolidate our national food security and sovereignty. The recent commissioning of the artificial intelligence-enabled GMB grain silos in Kwekwe to have far-reaching impacts on our climate change mitigation strategies. This year, we are expecting yet another bumper harvest from the 2024-2025 season. The growth of the national livestock herd is also applauded. I urge farmers and stakeholders in this sector to ensure an equally successful winter wheat season.
Now, in a bid to boost agricultural production, President Mnangagwa has empowered youths with agricultural machinery to boost food security. He commissioned new tractors and combine harvesters to young farmers across Zimbabwe, covering half of the total cost of the machinery as part of efforts to enhance agricultural productivity and food security. The initiative is aimed at empowering young farmers to play a key role in national food security.
On its part, my administration is facilitating the implementation of policies, projects and programs that benefit all our communities and improves the quality of life of our people. Recently, I commissioned and handed over tipper trucks to the youth from our various provinces under the Presidential Youth Fund.
Now, President Emmerson Mnangagwa is expected to leave the country this evening for Russia, where he is expected to join 29 other world leaders, including China's Xi Jinping, for the World War II Victory Day commemorations in Moscow. Russia's ambassador to Zimbabwe, Nikolai Krasilnikov, says President Mnangagwa's participation at the commemorative events to celebrate the 80th anniversary of Russia's victory in the Great Patriotic War on May the 9th is a special demonstration of solidarity between the two nations. Let's hear him speak.
Well, the fact that His Excellency, President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, His Excellency Comrade Dr. Idi Mnangagwa, will be on the Red Square together with President Putin at a very special, particular day for Russia, emphasizes the close, very special relations between our countries. I would say strategic partnership between Russia and Zimbabwe. Of course, our political relations has to be translated into practical economic cooperation to achieve tangible results for the benefit of our people.
Senegal has thrown its weight behind Zimbabwe's bid for a non-permanent seat in the United Nations Security Council for the period 2027 to 2028. This was revealed by Senegalese Special Envoy Yassine Fall after paying a courtesy call on President Mnangagwa earlier today. Fall, who also serves as Senegal's Minister of African Integration and Foreign Affairs, together with Amadou Hott, who is seeking the presidency of the African Development Bank, AFDB, met President Mnangagwa at State House in Harare. And Fall said they are in the country to relay a message of Senegal's support of Zimbabwe's bid to the president, as well as past salutations from his brother and counterpart, President Bassirou Diomaye Faye. Agenda 2063 was part of the discussions with President Mnangagwa with the aim of creating sound institutions.
And for both of our leaders' intention to strengthen relationship, diplomatic relation and economic relationship. Senegal has been a very big supporter of Zimbabwe all along, and has today very much supporting Zimbabwe, even as it's in its effort now to be in the Security Council at the United Nations. As you know, we also are, in a process of Africa's pushing Africa's development, Agenda 2063, and we need strong institutions in Africa, and this is also why we came here to discuss with the president.
That was a message from Yasmin Fall. Now, Zimbabwe's retail and wholesale sector, home to nearly 70% of the country's business operators, is setting its sights on a 5% growth target in 2025, which analysts say is possible. In the following report, we unpack what is driving the optimism and what it will take for the sector to truly turn the corner.
Zimbabwe's retail and wholesale sector, which accounts for nearly 70% of business operators, remains a key economic driver despite facing headwinds, including currency volatility, rising costs, and competition from the informal market. A new report by FinCEN projects a 5% growth rate in 2025, driven by shifting consumer patterns and opportunities in the formal economy. Signs of that shift are already showing major retailers like Simbisa Brands recording marginal gains for the year ended December 2024. Business analyst Desire Muchipisi says growth is still possible.
This raises important questions about the drivers behind that growth. Possible contributing factors may include population growth, increased access to credit, expansion of e-commerce and informal retail in the sector. It also suggests that retail momentum may be fueled more by structural or external dynamics than by actual improvements in the consumer purchasing power.
Tatenda Nyachega, the chief economist at the CEO Africa Roundtable, says the projected growth is supported by Zimbabwe's dual economy, a structure where formal and informal markets continue to coexist.
Yes, there is potential for growth of the retail sector on the sense that we have got more of informal retail happening in the country, where we've got quite a number of tuck shops which are in the retail business, which are coming from the informal sector perspective. And then the element of inflation having an impact or eroding the purchasing power, then I believe that you have got an impact mainly on those which are formally employed, and the greater chunk of those formally employed are in the civil service, which are earning in the form of the local currency.
However, for this growth to last, economists warn that retailers must embrace digital transformation and formalize operations.
With almost over 60% of businesses happening on the informal sector, the formalization drive is a good and important tool that can resuscitate and sustain long-run economic development and growth in Zimbabwe. But however, for the formalization drive to bring the fruits that we anticipate, there a lot of other things have to be done alongside with the formalization drive.
Retailers say, though formalization may be tough initially for small players, it, however, opens doors to credit, tax incentives, and greater policy stability.
To formalize our economy as a whole, not only this segment, and that we have engaged as NUMRA and the finance to try to find a sustainable way so that we can formalize the informal sector and level the playing field. I think one of the recommendations that we gave to NUMRA and the Ministry of Finance was to say, let's adopt a presumptive-based model. I think we believe that it will go a long way in incentivizing and simplifying our tax model so that the informal sector can participate towards our economic development efforts.
As the sector continues to look ahead, government is keeping a close watch on commodity prices from fuel to sugar, which play a big role in retail stability.
Cabinet considered an update on price movements and the availability of basic commodities in the domestic market for the period January 2025 to March 2025. The Minister of Industry and Commerce, through the ministry, conducts routine surveys to monitor prices and the availability of basic commodities with the ultimate goal of safeguarding and promoting consumer welfare in the economy.
The retail sector may be ready to grow, but the path forward will require strategy, policy support, and a transformation in how business operates. For ZTN Prime, I am Cecilia Kamputa in Harare.
Now, from that story on the retail sector, we now give you an update on what's happening in the health industry. Parirenyato Hospital, Zimbabwe's largest referral facility, is currently upgrading its renal section with a 21-bed unit currently under construction. The new unit, expected to be operational by August, will come as a boost to dialysis services in the country. Briefing the media during a tour of the new renal unit today, renal unit sister in charge, Pritima Chawira, said all dialysis machines are already in place and the unit is expected to begin operations by August.
We have a total of about 85 patients who require hemodialysis at the moment, and we have 3 sessions per day where we are saying around 3 a.m. that's the first group of patients which start dialysis. Then we stagger them up to 9 p.m. when the water plant needs to take a rest so that it doesn't overheat. But with the new section, it has got its advantages. There are quite a number of patients who will be dialyzed at a particular time, 21 at a time, and we hope to achieve and solve the issues of patients being cancelled on hemodialysis. Ideally, a patient should have about 3 sessions per week. But due to shortages which we are currently having, patients are managing at least 2 sessions over 4 hours instead of 5 hours of recommended dialysis time.
Now, the hospital also completed renovations of the pediatrics section, which is expected to bring relief to children and patients suffering from chronic illnesses. The pediatrics section sister in charge, Madaripi Musodza, highlighted that the section features modern equipment and child-friendly spaces to improve recovery outcomes for children suffering from various illnesses, including malnutrition, infectious diseases, and neonatal conditions.
We started operations here in April, and we started with a patient who had tumor of the mandible, and the surgery went on very well. It took us about 6 hours, and the patient already has been discharged. And after that, we did 4 cases, tonsillectomies, and also the surgery also went on very well. And we hope to continue doing all cases which need to be done here, which can be done here. As you know, we cater for children from between 0 to 12 years. And for all the specialties, starting from the head, the neuro, eyes, ortho, general surgery, even plastics, we hope to make use of these theaters because, as you can see, the environment suits the children.
Plans to recruit 8,000 additional teachers to plug in gaps. That story right ahead.
The National Social Security Authority, NASA, will be conducting a nationwide compliance blitz from Monday 5 May to Friday 16 May 2025. During this period, NASA compliance inspectors will carry out door-to-door inspections to ensure that all employers are complying with the provisions of the NASA Act, Chapter 17-04. NASA inspectors will be identifiable by their NASA identity cards and will be using NASA-branded vehicles. Employers and employees are urged to settle any outstanding contributions or make payments arrangements with your nearest NASA regional offices. Submit all outstanding monthly P4 returns dating back to January 2022. Update employee records via the NASA self-service portal www.selfservice.nasa.org.zw. If you encounter any suspicious requests or conduct during this exercise, please report them immediately to Mr. Edmund Kaseke, Miss Itai Chikweche. Be a NASA hero. Keep your NASA contributions up to date.
The Phoenix Podcast has always brought you the best of the best.
I missed on that blessing, but I also regained it in some way.
In seasons 1 and 2, we introduced you to the industry's brightest stars, the ones at the top of their game, the creme de la creme. But season 3 promises to be even more exciting. We're bringing you even more fascinating guests, including the renowned farmer, Patrick Matadi. And to top it all off, our very own host, Ken Sharp, will be stepping out of the interviewer's chair and into the hot seat as he gets interviewed by a surprise guest host.
From the boss, we've been beaten, but we're not beaten yet. We can still rise.
Konapo Konapo, Ipapo Ipapo, Bazetian Prime, DSTV Channel 294, the place to be.
You are still watching Newsplus and we're coming to you live from Harare. Now we give you a story on the education sector. Government has committed to improving teacher welfare and conditions of service at schools around the country, with plans at an advanced stage for the recruitment of 8,000 teachers to join the civil service and reduce teacher-pupil ratio. Speaking at the 40th ZIMTA annual conference in Bulawayo this afternoon, Primary and Secondary Education Minister Dr. Tonderai Moyo said government is committed to improving teacher welfare and said their case is one of the top priorities on his agenda.
That our nation's development relies on the contributions of its people. This sentiment underscores the importance of collaboration between the government and teacher associations to build a brighter future for education in Zimbabwe. As a ministry, we value our partnership with ZIMTA and look forward to strengthening it further, ensuring that teacher welfare, empowerment, and educational quality are not just national objectives, but tangible realities.
The minister also said government will recruit 8,000 teachers soon to address teacher-pupil ratio, adding that the education and finance ministries are working on final logistics for the recruitment exercise.
But in my conversation with the Minister of Finance yesterday, he said very soon we are going to receive Treasury concurrence. Once we have received Treasury concurrence, we will then recruit 8,000 new teachers that number does not include vacancies that arise as a result of attrition. Some people might retire, others might transfer, others would resign. Those are attrition posts. So these are new posts that we are going to fill, and that will dramatically reduce the teacher-people ratio.
And addressing delegates at the Teachers Association annual conference, the Zimbabwe Confederation of Public Sector Trade Unions chairperson Cecilia Alexander urged teachers' unions to stand true for the rights and welfare of teachers in line with the Constitution.
A nation where teachers are celebrated, supported, and equipped to foster growth and innovation in their students. With your passion, ladies and gentlemen, and dedication, I'm confident that we can achieve this vision. I want to express my gratitude to each one of you for your commitment to this noble profession. I think together we will continue to advocate for the rights of teachers and the future of our children.
Villagers of Zimba East constituency are jubilant over the promise of the construction of a new clinic in their area, which will save them a 20-kilometer journey to access healthcare. Construction of the clinic has been made possible by the recent disbursement of the Constituency Development Fund. The Constituency Development Fund is a government-funded grant designed to allocate financial resources to each electoral constituency, supporting developmental projects that address local needs. Our reporter Sharon Munjenjema attended a groundbreaking ceremony for the clinic that was held in Zimba recently.
Ward 25 in Zimba East constituency, a resettlement area long deprived of essential services, has been given new hope. For years, villagers traveled over 20 kilometers to Nyabira, Dzivarasekwa and other areas to access health services.
Tichitokomplain in fact panyaya kuti clinic iri padhuze kandi chitarisa kuno kudizeti kandi kunyabira sakura titendere panguva yakaoma saka benefit itoripo kuburikidza neclinic iyoyo.
With their legislator allocating his first constituency development fund towards constructing a local clinic, villagers are looking forward to improved well-being. Villager Elizabeth Kananji says she used to receive distress calls in the dead of the night from villagers seeking assistance to reach the distant clinics.
Tinofamba netsoka neusiku nepakati peusiku tosangana nematambudziko embavha, matambudziko ekusangana nevamwe vanhu vanenge vachida kurobha vamwe vanhu zvisiri izvo zvinenge zvichiitika nekuti panenge pari pakati peusiku ende kunenge kuri kure. Saka tinonzwa kutambudzika, tanga tichirarama munyika fanika tiri waranda. Kurarama munyika yekunge tiri waranda asi tiri zvizvarwa zveZimbabwe. Saka ndiri kunzwa kufara nekliniki yauya pano panzvimbo pedu pano.
Construction of the clinic is expected to be completed within 2 months. Local companies operating in the area are being urged to pledge resources to expedite the project. The community's enthusiasm is visible. Suggestions for a name for the clinic have already been put forward.
Ndakutonyora mapepa anoenda kukanzo tochinja mazita aya anga aripo anga akasiwa nevarungu. Tomeka sure kuti mazita clinic inenge yakunzi Narira clinic. Inarira clinic saka takuisa mazita edu echivanhu, mazita edu anechekuita nemararamire edu pasazowanike zvekuti vanhu varambe vachingoshedza mazita akasiwa nevarungu.
Zimba East legislator Kudakwashe Mananja welcomed the Constituency Development Fund disbursement as a crucial step towards driving development in his area. This disbursement marks the first allocation since the 10th Parliament legislators began their tenure.
Inobatsira kuti vanhu vedu itsika vanoziva kuti gore negore kunouya CDF. Saka painononokwa kureleaswa paipai pamaona ma-MP complain vanenge vane pfungwa yekuti CDF yakatorwa ikaita se ikashandiswa nenzira dzisina kukodzera. Saka we are happy kuti Minister of Finance yakazotirisira CDF after zvamboanaunswa kumashure uko pakaita ndofunga 2-3 months. CDF isati yawo.
The legislator expressed confidence that the Constituency Development Fund will unlock further progress in his area. With the clinic project underway, Manandra's next focus is on improving educational infrastructure. This initiative is expected to complement the healthcare advancements and contribute to the overall development of Shimba East constituency.
So tine satellite about five satellite schools takavamba gore rino saka tikungoya kwe-CDF takutoziva kuti takubatsirana tichienda mberi zvobva zvafamba zvakanaka.
As the shovel hits the ground in Shimba, it's clear that the Constituency Development Fund is more than just a financial allocation. It's a promise of hope and progress for the communities across Zimbabwe. The question now is, will this initiative live up to its potential and transform lives? Cheryl Munjejema for ZTN News in Shimba.
Now today, the Transport and Infrastructural Development Minister Felix Mona commissioned 7 tractors and ambulances at the Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport. This is set to bring more efficiency and safety at the country's airports. The development comes when Zimbabwe is set to host the 2025 International Civil Aviation Week from the 26th to the 30th of May. More in the following report.
The procurement of the new tractors and ambulances will not only improve aviation infrastructure maintenance, but it will also enhance compliance with international aviation standards.
All runways, taxiways and other critical airside areas, contributing to the smooth flow of air traffic and the safety of all aircraft movements. This will also enhance our compliance levels as the country on international aviation standards with regards to the quality and security of the airport.
All the airports of Zimbabwe are said to be capacitated with ambulances and tractors. However, priority will be given to the busiest.
The deployment of this new equipment, Minister, as has been said, we have 8 airports across the country. They will be distributed accordingly and appropriately in line with the need for the airports, depending on size and the number of passengers or volume of business or number of airlines that fly those airports.
Minister Mona also spoke about the 2025 International Civil Aviation Week to be held in Victoria Falls end of May, saying it is key in promoting the aviation sector and tourism industry.
We must rally behind and also support our aviation players that we are showcasing this very important event. Ladies and gentlemen, hosting this prestigious event will promote our aviation sector, enhance Zimbabwe's accessibility by air, and bolster the tourism industry with over 300 foreign delegates to expedite this process.
The new tools of trade paints positive growth in the aviation sector and paves way for seamless operations. For ZTM Prime, I am Gwaza Sitachisiwe.
Now, authorities have launched the Sustainable Development Goals proposal writing competition for school children, and the launch was today in Harare. The idea is to encourage innovative thinking and solutions that can contribute to the country's economic aspirations. And the initiative is a result of the partnership between the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education and the Ministry of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare. The competitions will begin in July this year.
Today we gather not merely to celebrate an academic contest, but to affirm the critical role that the Sustainable Development Goals and Agenda 2063 play as blueprints for structural transformation in Zimbabwe. These frameworks provide us with clear, data-informed targets towards poverty eradication, decent work, quality education, gender equality, climate resilience, and more. That when aligned.
Now, when Newsplus returns, we'll give you updates on courts and crime and also what's happening with the conclave.
Dental checkups, experiments, games.
The mixture is making bubbles and
the bubbles have changed color. Our balloon has been fueled by carbon dioxide.
We have it all right here on Happy Sprouts. Catch us exclusively on City and Prime, DSTV channel 294.
Stuck on you. Ooh, obsessed with you. I'm obsessed.
With Showmax, your favorite characters now follow you anywhere. Download it today and watch the best in local, international, and everything in between.
Thank you very much for staying tuned to Newsplus. Now, in the first hour of our bulletin, we gave you a story on how Zimbabwe is expecting a bumper harvest this year. We also looked at plans to recruit 8,000 additional teachers to plug in the gaps that are underway, and how Senegal has thrown its weight behind Zimbabwe's UN seat bid. We now get our crime and courts update in the following report with Kimberly Chimbalanga, including the bail proceedings for Mai Jeremiah's alleged rapists.
2 men accused of raping socialite Mai Jeremiah, real name Ashley Tatenda Masendeke, have been granted $200 bail each. Magistrate Marijuana Zogofa ruled that the state found no compelling reasons to deny them bail. She further stated that the first accused denies the allegations, whilst the second accused claims that it was consensual after agreeing to a $20 payment, which the complainant later changed to $500. The court described the accused as not a flight risk. They will return to court on June 5, pending finalization of investigations. Moving on, 2 more men linked to the armed robbery at Alpha Omega Farm belonging to businessman Wick Nochifayo's in-laws have appeared in court, making them 20. Taurai Mushawe Muka and Felix Karimba both claim to have been forced to make indications at an unknown place to them and risked being beheaded if they did not cooperate. Felix also told the court that he was shot on his forearm and has not received medical attention yet. They were advised to approach the High Court for bail application and will return to court on May 20. Still at the courts, a 30-year-old Budiriro man has been charged with rape after he allegedly sexually abused an 18-year-old woman on the pretext of handing her a parcel that had been left behind by her husband. It is alleged that when the complainant got to the accused's place, he dragged her inside his house before raping her. He was granted $100 United States bail and will return to court on 12 June. For TN Prime, I'm Kimberly Chimbalanga in Harare.
We now continue with stories from the world around us. Sudanese armed forces have repelled a drone attack targeting the country's largest naval base in Port Sudan, marking the 4th consecutive day of attacks on the strategic Red Sea city. According to a military source, air defense missiles were launched to intercept the drones. And since Sunday, Port Sudan has come under repeated attacks. A drone attack by the RSF on an oil storage facility near the Port Sudan New International Airport sparked a fire, and other attacks hit multiple locations, including the airport and port facilities. The city also hosts UN agencies and shelters hundreds of thousands of displaced people, and its airport remains a vital gateway for international travel. Now, a Kenyan court has sentenced 4 men to 1 year in prison or a fine of $7,700 for trying to smuggle thousands of live ants out of the country. The 4 suspects, 2 Belgians, a Vietnamese and a Kenyan, were arrested with 5,000 ants at a guest house in the western town of Naivasha. They had pleaded guilty to the charges and told the court that they were collecting the highly sought-after ants as a hobby and didn't think it was illegal. But delivering the sentence, the court said the particular species of ants collected was valuable, and they had thousands of them, not just a few. It is believed that the ants were intended for exotic pet markets in Europe and in Asia. The contraband included giant African harvester ants, which are valued by some UK dealers at up to $220 each. Now, Chinese President Xi Jinping's special envoy Mu Hong says China highly values the development of its relations with Gabon and is willing to work together to elevate the comprehensive strategic cooperative partnership between the two countries to new heights. At the invitation of Gabonese President Brice Clotaire Oligui Nguema, the vice chairperson of the National Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, attended Nguema's inauguration ceremony, and the Gabonese president met with Mu in Libreville, Gabon's capital. Now, the conclave has begun today. Many Catholic believers, tourists, and the press are gathered in St. Peter's Square, awaiting the first smoke from the Vatican chimney as cardinals hold votes for the new pope. Voting will take place in the Sistine Chapel, with ballots continuing in succession until any candidate secures 2/3 of the available votes. Now, since 1831, no conclave has lasted more than 4 days, but if no clear vote has emerged after 3 days, balloting is suspended for at least 24 hours to allow cardinal electors time to reflect. The cardinals are currently still taking oath of secrecy before going ahead with voting. Now, of course, interest in the movie Conclave has increased as it gives some sort of idea of what happens during voting. Now, moving on, a Chinese envoy emphasized the great importance of compiling a realistic and reasonable peacekeeping budget as the largest expenditure of the United Nations. During the second part of the resumed 79th session of the Administrative and Budgetary Committee, the Counselor of the Permanent Mission of China to the UN stressed the need to strengthen budget performance management and improve the efficiency of fund utilization.
联合国维和行动是维护国际和平与安全的重要工具，同时也面临前所未有的新形势、新挑战。作为联合国规模最大的支出，编制现实合理的维和预算至关重要。在维和行动缩编和撤出的大背景下，维和支出账户预算史无前例地增长了4300万美元，增幅11.2%，位居榜首。
Global economists have called for concerted efforts to safeguard an open and multilateral international trade system to effectively deal with protectionism, as the U.S. erratic tariff policy is jeopardizing global economic growth. The economists are in Milan, Italy, for the annual meeting of the Asian Development Bank, ADB, which gathered a wide range of partners and stakeholders to discuss how shared solutions can deliver stability, progress, and lasting positive change in Asia and the Pacific.
And therefore, I would say, faced with this unilateralism on the US side, is to remember that the US represents 13% of world imports. So it will matter a lot what the 87% remaining will do and what they will want. So if they want today to not make matters worse by not engaging into trade protectionism, it will help. If they decide to protect the rules of international trade, it will work. So it's the time for those who care and see value in the international trading system to act now to protect it.
Humanitarian organizations operating in the Gaza Strip have warned of widespread starvation among Gazans due to Israel's continued blockade of food for more than 2 months. Hisham Muhanna, spokesperson for the International Committee of the Red Cross in Gaza, said that community kitchens, which provide food for thousands of families, will stop operating within days due to lack of food.
For nearly 2 months now since the suspension of the entry of the humanitarian aid into Gaza Strip, the humanitarian situation has become even more extremely dire. Many people are finding their needs even harder than they used to compared to the ceasefire in January and February. The International Committee of the Red Cross, the ICRC, have been supporting community kitchens that provide hot meals for thousands and thousands of families on every day, and we can continue to provide these meals for another 2 or 3 weeks maximum unless these kitchens are supplied and replenished immediately. The ICRC Rafah Field Hospital, which is the only fully functional hospital across Rafah area now, can also continue providing life-saving services for the casualties and the patients for another few weeks.
Now, despite international calls for an end to Israel's war on Gaza to allow humanitarian access and warnings of a humanitarian catastrophe caused by the continued blockade, Israel has continued its strike and blockade of food, water, and other critical aid to the besieged enclave.
التهديد الأكبر هو بتوقف ما تبقى من منظومة المطابخ المجتمعية التكيات التي تقدم وجبة واحدة من الأرز وهي ربع احتياجات المواطنين في قطاع غزة، ولكن مع توقفها خلال الأيام القليلة المقبلة سندخل مرحلة أصعب ما توصف لأنها الأسوأ في تاريخ قطاع غزة. المشهد سيكون صعب جدا في قطاع غزة إذا ما استمر المعابر أكثر من ذلك، وإذا لم يتدارك المجتمع الدولي طبيعة الموقف الذي يعيشه قطاع غزة سنكون أمام مشاهد صعبة جدا فيما يتعلق بضحايا بالآلاف أو بعشرات الآلاف، وبخاصة من الأطفال والنساء وكبار السن الذين لا تتوفر لهم لا مواد غذائية ولا أدوية.
Zimtrade leads delegation of exporters to Malawi. That story and more in business.
Didn't graduate. I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
That guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
In a land where traditions run deep, where the soil holds the secrets of generations, and where dreams are sown alongside seeds, a new generation emerges. Welcome to Young Seeds. Get ready to embark on a journey like no other as we shine a spotlight on the dynamic and inspiring young farmers in the heartland of Zimbabwe.
I want to do it because plants will die, plants will get infected by diseases.
I tried to do mixed farming, that is also putting tomatoes. I have half a hectare of tomatoes.
Every 40 days, it has to be giving birth.
Produce a good quality fruit size. Actually, calves are kept in different pens, basically so that they don't spread diseases to each other.
My name is Tarios Gauke. I'm a rabbit farmer.
These young farmers are revolutionizing traditional practices, embracing technology, and finding sustainable solutions that will shape the future of agriculture. So, let's get our hands dirty.
We now take a look at what's happening on the economic landscape. First Mutual Properties, FMP, net property income increased by 62% to $4.8 million for the year 2024 from $2.9 million in 2023, while revenue was up 31% to $9 million from $6.8 million from 2023. Now, rental income remains the main revenue stream, but project management fees and USD denominated rentals also contributed to growth.
When you look at the top line, the revenue, they did well. That was quite a good performance. But as you get to the bottom line, there were quite a few few items that then watered down the earnings that they had managed to gain in the top line. So the net effect has also been a decline in their core earnings.
Now, the country's Trade Development and Promotion Organization, Zimtrade, kickstarted its outward seller mission to Malawi today. Zimtrade is currently in Blantyre, Malawi, with a contingent of Zimbabwean companies in a move that seeks to strengthen bilateral trade relations between local exporters and buyers in Malawi. The outward seller mission aligns with the government's vision of diversifying export markets and products as stipulated in the National Export Strategy. It creates an opportunity to meet and engage with potential buyers and distributors of Zimbabwean products and services in Malawi. Now, still on business, Capitec Connect is now South Africa's leading mobile virtual network operator, with 1.6 million active subscribers, overtaking longtime leader FNB Connect, which had under 1 million. Capitec's subscriber base almost doubled in just 1 year, up 74% between February 2024 and February 2025. And the growth isn't just in numbers, as the bank's MVNO arm generated 193 million rand in net income over the past year, a 450% increase, marking a major milestone as the business gains scale. Now, up next is entertainment.
Stay connected to DSTV this April and May and get all the football finals you want.
Zimbabwe's longest-running urban culture event, the Shoko Festival, is now open for performers and applications for its 15th edition, and the deadline for submission is the 16th of May. The festival showcases a mix of music, comedy, dancers, artists, and poetry. It has previously featured performances by Len Mojanasi, Casper Nyovest, Winky D, Nadia Nakai, and the late AKA. Here's a snippet of Kadiki's performance, a young voice that entertained 2024's Shoko Festival crowd. Now, Act 2 of a musical duet Through Time by Mary Anibal, who is an EU Green and Gender Ambassador, and Othna Mangoma, founder of Ngoma Ingungu's Arts Center, was recently and successfully held at Jason Mpepo Little Theatre. The musical, titled From Village to Town and Back to the Village, was described as a display of the richness of Zimbabwean ancient music, its contemporary interpretations, and a fusion of both. Now, the annual Met Gala, which is still being buzzed about, recently held in New York City under the theme Superfine Tailoring Black Style, had fashion's biggest stars turning heads on the red carpet. The event, which explored black history, culture, and style, had different creative interpretations centered on menswear, with many attendees putting a contemporary spin on suits, the wide-shouldered, high-waisted suits popularized by African American men in the 1940s. Now, shortly, we'll give you an update on the completion of the National Sports Stadium bucket seats.
They call me Racer X, or in this case, Racer J.
Put your seatbelt on.
Government has expressed satisfaction with the current progress made so far in the rehabilitation of the National Sports Stadium, with the project expected to be complete by the end of the year. Briefing the media during a progress tour in Harare today, Special Advisor to the President responsible for monitoring and implementation of government programs, Dr. Joram Gumbo, said authorities will address all challenges being faced by the contractors.
Chataona ndechekuti vakapiwa mabasa vari kuita panapa vari pamabasa avo vari kushanda basa riri kuenda mberi ende vari kurakidza kuti ivo nenguva ingangova iri kuti tisina kusvika pakupera kwegore vanenge vatora chinhano chakareba zvokugadzirisa kuti muno munge mava kutambirwa mabhora namamwe masports akasiyana siyana. Saka ndongangoti ndozvikuru chataona mukaona uza zvakaita basa raitwa panapa rinoratidza kuti zvinofadza patiri senyika kuitira kuti kana tava kutambawo masports akasiyana siyana tisaonekwa tichinda kunokumbira pekutambira kune dzimwe nyika.
Meanwhile, Zimbabwe Football Association President Ngobile Magwizi raised concern over the delay in the completion of the project, citing that this will disadvantage the players who will be hosting international matches in foreign nations.
I'm not entirely happy because we would want to use the stadium as soon as possible. Our next matches for the national team, the men's, are in September, and we definitely must play here. We have to play here. We cannot afford another match where our national teams are playing outside. For the under-20 girls and the under-17s who are going away to Rwanda and Namibia respectively, yes, we can accept that. But when you go to our national team, men's and women, I think going forward, it's important that we play at home.
Triangle United coach Genesis Mangombe has given his assessment of the squad after 4 games in charge as he eyes a turnaround of fortunes. This week they come face to face with Mangombe's former side Dynamis, who are also stuck in the relegation places. We get more in the following report.
Triangle United coach Genesis Mangombe has embraced the challenge of reviving the club's fortunes despite anchoring the log standings after 10 rounds of matches. Mangombe took over Luke Masomere and has registered 1 win, 1 draw and 2 defeats in 4 matches to spark a mini revival of sorts. With almost a third of the season gone, Mangombe is under no illusions about the task ahead and is not seeking a fresh start, but rather a quick return to winning ways at all costs.
At the moment, we need, in as much as we want to play according to our philosophy and everything, we also have to tell the truth. And they say we need to work very, very hard and make sure that we ground result, be it we are playing good, we are playing bad, but at the end of the day, we need to get maximum points. And also maybe to work on the boys' mentality, especially in terms of winning games. they are lacking that confidence. They are lacking the confidence of winning. If you see, even scoring, it's very difficult for them.
The task does not get any easier for Triangle as they play host to Mangombe's former club Dynamos. The two teams head into match day 11 with just 3 points separating them, with the Glamour Boys looking a pale shadow of their glory days. This time around, Triangle will have the backing of the home support and full voice at Gibo Stadium.
When playing at home, they don't accept to lose. So we need to make sure that home games, we manage to get maximum points. Especially this game we are playing versus Dynamos. We need to go back and try to psych the boys up and go back to the drawing board and work on our shortfalls. Then consolidate on the good things we've been doing here. Then maybe at the end of the day, we can get maximum points versus former giants, Dynamos.
Defensively, Triangle has struggled, conceding a league-high 16 goals in 10 matches. Mangombe is now focused on shoring up the back line.
Now, the problem now is coming for our defensive zone. We are not a unity. We are found wanting in terms of counter-attacks. We are found wanting in terms of building from the back. We are doing several mistakes which needs to be corrected as well. So we are going to work very hard and start with being solid at the back and not conceding silly goals. Then going up front, we will try and find goals.
A glorious campaign in the Eastern Region Soccer League saw Triangle storm to promotion back into the PSL. Their return to the top flight has not gone according to script, and it remains to be seen if they can find the winning formula that made them such a formidable force in Division 1 to secure safety in the PSL.
The Econet Victoria Falls Marathon is set for a new record, with organizers confirming that over 5,000 runners from 31 countries are expected to participate. This year's edition is set for July the 6th, and race director Brent Williamson says registration numbers for this year's race are outpacing previous editions. This, he said, is a clear sign of growing global excitement around what has become one of Africa's premier destination marathons. In 2024, the marathon attracted 5,000 runners from 31 countries, cementing its reputation as a bucket list race for athletes and adventure seekers from around the world. Now, in our last story on sport, the 2025 motor racing season roars into life this Sunday at Donnybrook Racetrack in Harare as Sable's Motor Club holds the Tiger Wheel and Tire Race Day. This exciting event, which is the first main circuit racing competition of this year, will comprise the first races of the Zimbabwe National Championship Series for both sports cars and saloon cars. And that's a wrap on Newsplus this Wednesday evening. Thank you very much from myself, Watanai Sansole, and the crew behind the scenes. Have a good night.
Didn't graduate. I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
The guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.